Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Pathway to Profession. Today we have the man, the myth, the legend, Umayr in the building, CEO of Ace Insights. Brother, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you so much, firstly, Shaz and Faida, for having me on the podcast today. Firstly, congratulations also on launching the podcast. I tuned into your first episode, and I must say it's an amazing podcast and an
Thanks
amazing
so much.
initiative.
Thank you.
So yeah, no, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being on today, and that introduction of yours was too kind, I must say. So thank you for that, Shaz.
No problem, no problem. Um, and Fida, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. There's no introduction needed from me if you guys have been watching from day one, but I'm Fida, and yeah, welcome to the podcast.
So today we've got a very, very important topic for like any apprentice really, and that is the importance of networking. Networking, everyone says it, network is your net worth. Everyone needs to have that skill. So today we have the networking connoisseur Omer today to kind of show us his skills, teach us what's up about the networking space and all that. So yeah. So Omer, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where did it all begin for you?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously my name is Umayr Tanveer. I am currently a data engineer at BT Group and also the CEO and co-founder of Ace Insights, which we can kind of get more into later on down the line. But Ace Insights essentially is an organization aimed at improving social mobility and increasing uptake of apprenticeships amongst the disadvantaged background students that you have across the country. And of course, enhancing the experience of current apprentices and allowing for them to take full advantage and maximize their potential through the apprenticeships that they are currently undergoing. And so we're doing really amazing work on that front, which we can go into later on. But where my journey essentially started was back in sixth form when I was studying A levels, and I realized that I couldn't really go to university full time through the traditional pathway, and that was due to a number of reasons. But the main reason essentially was because um, I couldn't at the time afford the university tuition fees, and that meant obviously resorting to a student loan, which is interest bearing, and that goes against my religious beliefs and
Mm-hmm.
morals. And so that ended up putting me in a situation where I had to kind of find an alternative. And I knew from the get go that, okay, I won't be able to go to university without having to compromise on my beliefs. And that was something I wasn't prepared to do whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so that's when I attended essentially a careers fair in the Excel in London and came across these things called degree apprenticeships. And I was really intrigued because at first I thought, hold on a second, this sounds too good to be true. You're getting a free degree when an actual degree costs around 27 plus thousand pounds for the entire degree, and you're getting that for free, and you're working for an employer, and you're getting paid, and you're getting experience. So I was thinking, okay, where's the catch? But then, doing research, going back home, and then doing research over the next few days, I realized that, you know what, this is actually a fantastic pathway for me to go down, especially as also I was quite hands on, and I'm still hands on, of course. And the best way I learn is by doing, right? And practice. And so the degree apprenticeship was a perfect scenario for my kind of progression beyond sixth form, and that's exactly what I wanted to do, and knew that's what I wanted to essentially do. And so I had my mind set. I didn't even look at applying to universities. I didn't even apply to UCAS at the time when I was attending a high achieving sixth form where my peers were going to Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, King's, UCL, all of these really top universities across the country, and even the Ivy League as well over in the USA. But that didn't obviously deter me, and I was very committed to securing a degree apprenticeship. And that's when I started applying, and that's when I was very, very thankful to get offers from various companies. And in the end, I settled for the BT degree apprenticeship scheme in software engineering. And I guess that's where my journey began.
Yeah, and it's mad that you're like I'm on this podcast today because I remember when I was applying for my apprenticeships, one of like I remember me and my mom were just sitting in the living room, we were watching a podcast, and you were actually on that podcast, and I was like, now I'm on a podcast with the man himself. Do you know what I mean? So it's insane like how the journey's going like in full circle,
Mm,
and I definitely see what you mean as well with like the university side of things. There's a lot of like, don't get me wrong, university is a viable option for some, but there's a like, the debt and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people go away from it due to that, and that's why they go for the apprenticeship side of things. So I definitely
Yeah.
see why, kind of see your reasoning as well, and obviously the point on Islam and religion. That's a very valid point as well. 100%, I agree with that.
Mm.
So I suppose
I
to
didn't
go.
even think of it like that though, because because I'm Muslim as well, but I didn't think of it as going against my religious beliefs. Because I was like, oh, I didn't think of it. Oh, growing up, we all think university is like the only option. We didn't know anything about
Mm.
degree apprenticeships. It was only
Yeah,
university. You get a student loan. That's it. Like I didn't really think of it in that other way. So that was interesting. But as you said, like you had it was going against your religious beliefs. But
Yeah.
then, did you have any problems going telling your like parents or anything that you're not going to university and going to take a degree apprenticeship? Like, were they okay with that decision, or did they want you to go to uni?
Yeah, so my parents, and I'm very thankful for this, my parents were extremely supportive of my decision from day one. They were on the same wavelength when it came to the idea of going to university and taking out a student loan, right?
yeah,
And so they were extremely supportive of me actually finding an alternative. And when I did find that alternative, they encouraged me, they pushed me, and I had their full support and backing in the endeavor of getting a degree apprenticeship. And so I'm really thankful. And I do recognize that, there are students out there that don't necessarily have the support of their parents, and that can be tough, and that is a massive, massive challenge. And I totally recognize that. But in my situation, I was really thankful that I didn't face that challenge.
That's good. That's
100%.
really good,
Yeah,
especially since you had your parents there. Then, because I think most of us, we said in the last podcast that we literally had our mums to thank our parents. So
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
oh,
I think it's important to have like good family and friends like supporting you and backing you, like a good circle,
mm,
because
100%, yeah.
a lot of people don't really appreciate apprenticeships. They always say go to uni instead and stuff like that. So it's something that's definitely important. So yeah, so
absolutely.
just moving on from that then. Um, a question I had, because today is all about networking, right? So I want you
Hmm.
guys to tell me like what what purpose does networking bring? How do you think it can benefit inside the apprenticeship space, outside of it? What do you think it can bring to the table? And that goes to anybody really.
Ida, do you want to go first?
I guess I'll start. So, as I said before, like with networking, especially within your organization, it's a way for you to connect with people that are in completely different, whether it be IT, whether it be business, like they're in complete different sectors from you, and then you're able to gain opportunities, gain experience through just talking to people and gain those different insights. Like being able to network within your organization brings a lot of benefits. Like I cannot stress it enough. Like even me and Umayr, I remember I actually met him through Shaz, so that like has opened up so many doors. And being able to, I'll let Shaz toot his own horn with the Multicultural Apprenticeship Awards. Like man, literally started that. So like I didn't know about it because Shaz got an invite and I'm hearing his mayor this and mayor that. I'm like, oh, interesting. And then I met him through that. So it was like
Yeah,
all this networking. He's here today. He was on podcast before this. Like this is a big deal, guys. If you guys don't understand that I you have everything like at your fingertips and just adding networking to that, as we said, LinkedIn and stuff. It's all like number one. It's really, really good, and I cannot stress that enough.
yeah, hundred
Yeah,
percent.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I echo very similar sentiments, right, to what you mentioned, Fida. And like you said, right, this is how we met, right? I don't work in your area whatsoever. We've never worked on
So
anything related to our day job, right?
yeah,
I'll be honest, I don't have any clue what you do on a day job basis, and I don't think you have
I have no clue what you do.
an idea, right? Exactly. So the point is this: we've met through channels that are not necessarily the channels that you have as an employee of a company through your day job, right? It's the
Okay.
kind of extra stuff that you do around that. And that's the beauty of networking, that you meet people that you wouldn't necessarily meet if you just stay within the bubble of your own team and your own industry and your own role. Okay. And so the purpose of networking is to widen your horizons and to kind of give you different perspectives and different ideas and different ways of thinking from different people from different backgrounds. And the reason why that is so important for anyone in any stage of their career, but most importantly for apprentices, is because you're just starting your career from fresh, right? There's a blank slate, and you got to really absorb knowledge and experience and all of the good stuff to succeed in your career like a sponge.
Yeah,
And the best way to do that is by networking, speaking to people from all different walks of life. And that's the
absolutely.
benefit of it. And you meet people along the way. You might meet friends. You might meet, other types of people as well. But the core essence of it is that you're actually developing yourself and you're widening your horizon, and you are setting yourself up for a successful career. And that's what networking is essentially for me.
100%. And I definitely agree with that because I think it just brings about so many opportunities. Because I remember when I first started my apprenticeship, um, I was kind of shy as well. I was speaking to people within my own team, but I was thinking, oh, I don't really want to message this person. He's just gonna think I'm a joker. I don't want to message him. You know what I mean? So, but then
Mm,
do you remember Abdi, Umayr? You probably remember Abdi as well. He
yeah, yeah,
he knew you through LinkedIn because he connected with you before his apprenticeship, and that's how I kind of came across you. And then I connected with you at the award ceremony. You gave me an invite to, and then I met so many amazing apprentices, so many amazing people just from that one event. And it's just mad because if you think about it,
yeah,
the more the more you talk to people and the more you put yourself across to newer people, the more opportunities you get as well. Because even something like this, if I didn't connect with you that day, would you even be on this podcast? So many
yeah,
opportunities come across just from one message saying hello, brother, how you doing? You know what I mean? It's crazy how much
yeah.
can come from that. And I
Mhm,
guess I guess just branching out from that then is what networking like what was your networking journey like? How did you start networking? How did it all kind
mhm.
of piece together?
Yeah, I think my networking really started from the bare bones, right? And that's your team, your core team, your manager, right?
Yeah,
Um, and so I had a very supportive manager at the time when I was an apprentice who really encouraged me to not just be good at my job, but also be good beyond that in extracurricular, in volunteering, and being visible in the business and outside of the business in the industry generally. And so what that allowed for me to do was essentially give me this mindset that, you know what, I don't just want to be good at my job. I want to be good at everything outside of it as well, whether that's
yeah,
extracurricular or volunteering. And so what then kind of led me to do was essentially speak to my apprentice leads, speak to kind of other apprentices in my cohort, speak to other colleagues in the business that are not necessarily within my team. And that's when I discovered, okay, these folks really are like-minded,
mm,
and essentially they all want to achieve the same goal, which is to be successful in their career. And that's what really helped me kind of be around those types of mentalities and foster that mentality for myself. But then also this networking allowed for me to actually meet one of my very closest friends as well, a few of my closest friends today outside of work. And that's when we got involved in one of our people networks in BT very, very early on. And it's one of our ERG networks, as it's referred to in other companies and other countries as well. And that was the Muslim network, the BT Muslim network.
yeah,
And now
massive,
through
yeah,
that, I was actually successful in getting a comms lead role, which obviously is not, again, nothing to do with my day job. I'm not a comms expert. I'm not a marketing expert, but here I am now as a comms lead for one of the people networks, and I'm writing articles and I'm speaking to the CEO of BT, and I'm interviewing
yeah,
this director and I'm engaging with this director. And that's where now all of a sudden there's this big door that's opened
yeah,
just by me being proactive and wanting to get involved and volunteering. And then that opens up doors for me to now be connected with the marketing team at BT, the early careers marketing team. And they're like, okay, do you want to be involved in the apprentice recruitment campaign shoot, right? We're going to have professional photographers and videographers. They're going to interview you. They're going to take pictures of you and they're going to print you out on this large banner, and they're going to blast your face all over the screens in the offices. And I'm like, yes, of course. And that was as a result of networking, because otherwise
yeah,
they would have never known me if I wasn't involved in these initiatives, right?
absolutely, yeah,
And then it leads on to other things. It leads on to the government asking BT for a number of apprentices to be able to represent apprenticeships during National Apprenticeship Week 2 years ago, and I
Yeah.
get picked as one of those apprentices. Why? Again, because of my proactiveness, because of the networking and me getting to know those people in those circles, and also me being involved in all of these initiatives. And so I go to 10 Downing Street, take the picture in front of the famous Black Door, and I sit with the Secretary of State for Education at the time and discuss with the Secretary of State for Education, okay, what is the ways we can actually increase uptake in apprenticeships? And then all these opportunities come your way, and it's almost like a domino effect, like you said,
Yeah.
Shaz. That it's just that one small little spark that just leads to this
Yeah.
massive world of opportunities. And
100%.
beyond as well, my current role as a data engineer, I didn't apply for this role. This role wasn't available in BT. I actually spoke to one of the directors in our data and AI department, and he was quite impressed with me and the work I was doing. And he said, "Look, we have an opportunity for you to do a rotation on our team." And so I was given that opportunity. They created the opportunity for me actually,
Yeah.
and they were impressed with what I was doing, and they gave me a full-time role, which I am actually still in till this day.
Amazing. Yeah.
And this is all of these anecdotes and all of these experiences and achievements that I've just mentioned are as a result of networking.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it just goes to show you the benefits of it. And I can speak well
All
beyond
day.
what I've
Yeah.
just said about these benefits, but I guess that will suffice for now.
Yeah, 100%. And like, how
Yeah.
you brought up the Muslim network, the BT Muslim network. I've met
Hmm.
so many amazing people just in Birmingham from the Muslim network as well. So like, having that network in place, that's a potential opportunity for you to go and meet new people. There's
Yeah.
loads of networks in these like companies that you can join. There's a Sikh network in BT. There's a Muslim network. You can find out what you're
Mm.
interested in, join that, and then that's a way you can meet new people who aren't necessarily working in the same department as you or team as you, like you said, but people who genuinely have similar interests to you, similar beliefs, similar cultures, stuff like that. So, 100%. And Fida, like, do you have any thoughts on that as well?
I want to add to what Umayr said as well because he was saying it. I guess you can say networking kind of is like, especially when you're within your teams and things like that. No one would know what's going on in your head unless you speak out. I know it
Yeah,
might be scary at first, but you can't expect like your manager or someone sitting next to you to expect to know what is going on through your head. If you have this massive idea, like Umar said, he went out Muslim network and created everything. Like honestly, the amount of things you've done, man, like I can't even because even I'm just like impressed, and I'm just like, how did he get like to that level? I am following by the way because my face is now everywhere. So
yeah,
yeah, I've got my face on all the banners and things. However,
Yeah.
um yeah, no one would know that you wanted to do that unless you started speaking out, unless you started
exactly.
networking, unless you started talking to people. No
Mm.
one would know that. You wouldn't be where you are today or having the role that you have. As you said, it was created for you, but no one would know that if you didn't speak. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
scary to say speak to a random person, but it's something you have to learn. And as Shaz said, he was shy when he first came, but look at him now. He's made a whole podcast. Like, what's
Yeah.
thanks
going
to
on?
you as
He's
well.
on
Thanks
TikTok
to
as
you as
well,
well.
guys.
I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm
Yeah,
trying.
Yeah.
all of
And
this
it's
stems
about, yeah, no, go for it, Father.
all of this stems from literally networking, just reaching out,
Mm.
talking to people, getting outside of your comfort zone is really good. Yeah, something everyone should really consider when you start your apprenticeships. As Uma said, you're starting out fresh. You don't know
Definitely.
anyone. This is your time to like make a new path for yourself. Have an idea of what you in your head. You want to do something, do it. Just go for it. Take that leap of faith. Go for it.
100%. Absolutely, yeah. So, I guess the next question I have for you guys then is, where would you guys find these networking opportunities and stuff? Like, where would you go to look for that? Because I'm sure a lot of the people watching would want to know, like, these guys are talking about networking, but where do I find the perfect opportunity? Because,
Mm.
for example, you might want to do something like Fida said, you might want to put it across, but you might not be talking to the right people. So, what is the right opportunity? What would you guys say for that?
Yeah. It's a fantastic question, right? Because, excuse me, we always talk about networking, but we don't talk about where to go for networking. And we did touch upon it briefly, from the anecdotes that I mentioned of mine personally. Is there's various pathways to go when you want to network. The immediate place to network is your actual team, right? So your colleagues in your team are actually people that you should first start networking with. Get to know them, explain your ambitions, explain your career goals. These folks will be more likely than not more experienced than you when you're coming in as a fresh apprentice, right? Because they've
Yeah,
worked at the company for a number of years. Some would have been very, very experienced. Some would have been a few years ahead of you in experience. Nonetheless, fantastic way to network and get your foot in there. Your manager, fantastic, because your manager will have a level of experience that you don't have, and
yeah,
you can learn from that. And then you go above the kind of hierarchy, and you have your director. Reach out to your director or your partner or your MD, right?
yeah,
These are people that are going to be so beneficial for your network. And when they know that they have an apprentice that is actually working underneath them, they will be more than happy and more than willing to actually help you out. So that's the first start. The second, in my opinion, is reaching out to the communities in your company on a wider perspective. So we mentioned people networks, ERG networks, fantastic place to meet people that are like-minded, people that are from similar backgrounds to you, and people that share the same kind of passion and interest in the causes that matter to you the most, right? I've met so many people through the Muslim network, which I now chair. And the amount of people that I'm meeting on a day-to-day basis, that I'm speaking to, that kind of all of these lovely people that have all of this experience, I wouldn't be able to experience if I hadn't been involved in the Muslim network. So I would recommend that as well. I would also recommend industry events, right? So if you're working in tech, go to the AWS Summit, go to GCP, for example, GCP
yeah,
Cloud kind of summits that take place across London or whatever city you're in my case, London. Right, go to these industry events because then you will actually meet the industry experts, the subject matter experts, and you will again expand your network. And this kind of applies to all other interests that you may be kind of willing to go through for your career. Go to the place where you will find people that are involved in the interest that you have and the passion that you have. And this goes without saying, of course, LinkedIn is a fantastic place,
yeah.
right? You should make it your mission that whenever you meet someone in person, connect with them on LinkedIn, stay in touch with them on LinkedIn, and also connect with others on LinkedIn as well, not just within your industry and your area, but also others beyond that, so that you can widen your network further.
Definitely, yeah, 100%. And like that's, I guess that brings me on to another point in terms of networking. There's so many different ways you can go about it. Technically you
Mm,
can network with people online. Do you know what I mean? You can network with people in person. Obviously, in person is always better in my opinion. But obviously, there's so many different ways you can go about networking. But the main thing everyone, I guess, wants to know is how would they introduce themselves? How would they make a first impression? Do you know what I mean? Because first impressions count everywhere, whether it be online or in
mm.
person. What would you guys say? And Fida, this goes out to you as well. Like, what would you say counts in terms of a first impression? Because I know Fida, you're a great networker as well.
Am I? That's a big compliment, but
You
thank
always
you.
go into these events, like Umayr was mentioning, like these networking events and stuff like that. I know you do go to quite a few of them, so yeah.
I got a lot. Yeah, I was literally just at one last week, so and I've got something else this week, so that's a lot. But the first thing I always do is obviously go introduce my name, introduce what I do as an apprentice, and that's kind of where I start off. Like I don't obviously I was saying network and tell them like, oh, you're ambitious and things, but don't that won't be your first conversation. Your first conversation will probably just be you two getting to know each other,
Yeah,
and then as you said, staying connected. That's the important part because I didn't go to anyone like when I said my face is everywhere. And that didn't happen from a first conversation. It happened from the consistency of me keeping in contact, letting them know that oh I'm involved in this, making sure like even my LinkedIn, I think everyone just found me from my LinkedIn. Most of these opportunities came up from that. They were like, "Oh, I saw you on LinkedIn. I saw you post this," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I did that recently." They're like, "Would you be interested in this?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure." And then the opportunities just kept coming. So it was like the consistency of talking to people, making sure I post whatever I did throughout my LinkedIn, and the opportunities just kept coming like that. So it's not something you would just go up to put someone and be like, "Oh yeah, my name is Fida. I'm a degree apprentice in BT, and I want to be on the face of every cover on TV and stuff." That no, 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 no. It's
Mm.
it's you building it up, saying what you do. You're excited to start working here, and what you're interested in, like throughout your whole journey as an apprentice. Because I was 4 years, the amount of times I think I told people that I'm interested in data analytics, and actually I
Yeah.
did that during the first MISIP network, on floor 10. Shaz, you remember that? And
Which one was that? Was the Ramadan one?
had so many. It was the Ramadan one, yeah.
Ramadan one. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I met someone, and her name was Sadia. Oh my god!
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
did not keep in contact with her till this day, like everything all the information things I've gotten from her and the insights, because she's not into, her job role is data analytics, and that's what I'm interested in. However, I don't get rotations in that. I think I've mentioned this before, but I don't
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
rotations in data analytics. But I met her through this Muslim network when we had like a meetup during Ramadan. We had a little event at lunch, only for a few minutes, by the way. So I met her, talked to her for a bit, and I said, "Oh yeah, I'm interested in data analytics." After she told me what she does, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm interested." And then we kept in contact through Teams. Not until maybe 5 months. I can't lie, because we were very busy. We spoke again. We went out for lunch, grabbed a coffee, all that, and I met up with her 2 weeks ago, and she was just giving me all these incredible insights. She had a baby as well, and like, it's really good, but it's something you have to keep in contact with. It's not something
Mm.
that, first interaction you tell them everything and they'll give you a job like that. It does not work like that. It's the consistency and you
Yeah.
keeping in contact through Teams, LinkedIn, whatever. So as I said, when you go to these networks, make sure you get their LinkedIn, get something off of them, so that you're able to keep in contact. Because I did that through all my networks, and the amount of people I've met, I continue to meet. Like if I have another network, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, are you going back to this network? Are you going to this event?" And then we'll just meet through that.
Yeah, it's like that ripple effect that we were talking about earlier, isn't it? It just everything just leads one after another, and yeah, 100%. And Umair, if you have any kind of thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I think Faida's really spot on with that regard. There's nothing more to add. I think she's described it perfectly well. But one thing I will touch upon is networking and getting to know people for the purpose of networking is like any other relationship that you may have
Yeah,
outside of work, personal relationships, right? It needs maintenance. And yeah, it's like anything else, right? If you're looking to make friends, for example, or you're getting to know your teacher at school when you join school, you will introduce yourself and you'll slowly build that relationship. And it's exactly the same. You introduce yourself and you get to know one another, right? And then you take it from there. You regularly catch up with them. You go out for coffees, you go out for lunches, and that's how you build that relationship. And that's where you kind of figure out each other's strengths and what you both can offer to each other. And that's exactly how you'll benefit, and be efficient with your networking as well.
100%. I definitely agree with that. And it's like what both of you said, and we've kind of touched upon this in several elements in the podcast so far as well, is that it just brings on so many different opportunities. Like even for example, let's just talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is such a powerful tool as well, as we've discussed, and we'll probably discuss this later on in the episode as well. But just because I made a LinkedIn and I started, pumping out apprenticeship content on my page and whatnot, people are actually messaging me now and giving me opportunities like, okay, we've got a ambassador role here, we've got an event which we might want you to go to, just things like that. And that's something completely external to like the work-based environment, for example, because LinkedIn is kind of
Mm.
outside of that corporate space. It's more like external because it's like a social media. So, just even just having it on that is such a powerful tool. Networking just brings about so many different opportunities. And I wanted to ask you guys as well, like any successes you've had based on networking, any opportunities. I know Fida, you touched upon a few, but I want to hear some from Omer as well.
Yeah, I mean, reiterating the point that I mentioned earlier, I mean, the role that I'm in, the job I'm in now as a data engineer, I wouldn't be in if it wasn't for networking. And
Yeah,
as
yeah,
I mentioned, when I was approaching the tail end of my apprenticeship in my final year, I realized that, I want to try something different. Software engineering wasn't necessarily for me. It was quite coding intense. And so that's when I was speaking to my director at the time who was quite visible of the area that we work in, which was data and AI. And he told me, and he really appreciated and really valued the work that I was doing, not just in my day job, but beyond that. And he said, look, you know, if I can help in any way, if I can, do anything for you for your career, please give me a shout. And that's when I said to him, actually, you can. I'm looking for another rotation in the data and AI space. That's exactly where I want to be. And he said, okay, that's fine. I will speak to some directors in the area and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, a few weeks later, he gets back to me actually, and he says, look, there's this opportunity in a data engineering and delivery team, and they want an apprentice as a part of the team. Are you interested? And that's where I was like, yeah, of course I'm interested. You know, I want to do this rotation in the last few months of my apprenticeship, and that's when I joined. Really enjoyed the work I was doing as a data engineer, and really enjoyed the team, and everything was fantastic. And thankfully, they were kind to kind of offer me a full-time role, and that's where I am in now, thriving and, hopefully kind of getting to the career levels that I want to get to in terms of the data space that I am in currently. So that's a prime example in my experience, at least, of what networking has benefited me and how it's benefited me. Because there is a statistic which I don't know very specifically in my head right now. It's not coming to me, but the majority of these jobs that you see people in are actually because of networking. It's not
Yeah.
because they've gone onto the job board of the company, have actually pressed the apply button and sent their CV. It's more of, I know this person, he or she might be good for the role. Let me ask them if they're interested. They
Yeah.
are interested. Let's have a formal, informal interview, and here's the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that happens more often than you actually think it
Mm.
does, right? And so that's why, again, your network is so important, and you will see the opportunities come your way when you have a fantastic and supportive network.
100%. I definitely agree with you there. And I wanted to quickly touch on something which I think networking is really like the main principle of this. And what networking really helps you to do is to build your own brand, build like a professional brand for yourself, because that's very, very important. I mean, we live in a time full of social media, we live in a time full of influence, if you want to say that. So, you know, having networking skills really allows you to build that professional brand for yourself. And that's why I really want to touch on the presence of social media and how that helps, because obviously you've got tools like TikTok. I know there's a lot of apprenticeship TikTokers in the space. We've got, LinkedIn, we've got Instagram, stuff like that. We've got so much different social media tools which can really help you elevate your networking. So let's talk a little bit about that. What have you guys got any advice or tips, stories about anything social media related and networking?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I'm not going to comment on TikTok because we actually do have a famous TikToker here in FIDA, so I'll let her
Yeah.
take that one. Um, but I can comment on LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn is fantastic, right? And we talk about and we hear about this term personal brand, but what really is personal brand,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
why is it important? I mean, personal brand essentially is the image and the embodiment of what people think of you when they see you and when they hear of you in the professional world, right? And so if you have a good personal brand, then people will be inclined to network with you. They will be inclined to, catch up with you and build a relationship with you, and vice versa
Yeah.
if you have a bad personal brand. And so that's why it's so important to establish a personal brand that is professional, that is authentic, and that allows for you to be yourself, and that showcases the qualities that you have as a professional. And
100%.
LinkedIn is a fantastic place for you to build that personal brand. How do you build that personal brand, you may ask? Well, it's very, very simple. If you have achievements as and when you start your apprenticeship and you are starting to achieve things, you're starting to hit milestones, post about it, shout about it on Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn or whatever social media it is that you're looking to develop a personal brand on, right? Because if you don't shout about your own achievements, no one else will, right?
Yeah.
So if you, for example, completed a milestone in your day job, post about it, tag your colleagues, post a picture of, for example, the achievement that you've made. All of these things will all kind of build that credibility and build that authenticity within your personal brand, and then allow for you to kind of, be seen by those that are going to benefit you hopefully down the line with your career and your personal development as well.
And it'll also spread the word about apprenticeships as well. Let's say someone stumbles across your
Mm,
LinkedIn. Like I've had a few people stumble across my LinkedIn and TikTok, and they're not apprentices yet. Like they aim to become an apprenticeship. So by building a brand, you're not just giving opportunity to yourself, you're potentially giving opportunities to other people as well, because then they can start to appreciate what apprenticeships are about. Yeah, 100%, Umayr. Like I really agree with your points there as well. Now the TikTok legend, it's your turn to speak.
Guys, it's just gassing me up. But yeah, what Emma said about LinkedIn, if you go onto my LinkedIn now and you see all the stuff that are on there, that would not have happened unless like I started reaching out, as I said, with the
Yeah.
networking and being invited to all these events. But I was very bad at posting. I would never post all the events I went to unless I would post it like maybe a week later, because
Mm.
LinkedIn never used to have that capability to post videos. And so all I could post were pictures. And I would always forget because I'm always in the moment whenever I'm in these events. I'm always networking. I'm always talking to students, aspiring apprentices, and things. I would always forget to take a picture.
Yeah,
And
I had an
I'm
issue with
like,
that as well.
wait, yeah,
I'd
I
forget,
will
man.
take a million videos with my Snapchat. I will take a million videos, but then I can't use those videos within my LinkedIn. So with my love for recording and recording myself and vlogs and everything, I took one of those videos to my TikTok. And lo and behold, the TikTok actually blew up. Now, it blew up in the sense that I didn't get millions and millions of views, so sorry about that. So I'm not that famous. It got like a couple thousand. However, it gained a lot of attention from aspiring apprentices. It gained a lot of comments. People were asking advice. What did I do for A levels? They were asking for tips on the CV process. And I was like, wow, people are actually like coming to me. I was a first year apprentice, by the way, when this happened. So I'm brand new. And people are asking me for advice into like getting a whole job. I'm like, wow, what do I do with all of this? And I was like, let me just continue posting. Let me help these people answering their questions. With all the people who have come onto my TikTok and asked me questions about the CV process, I've helped every single one of them. I've answered all their questions. A good four of them have come back to me and told me, "Oh my god, I got the job! Oh my god!" And
Amazing.
that has
Yeah, yeah,
made
yeah,
me
that's it.
feel
Yeah.
like so accomplished. Like, and this is something out completely outside of my day job. And it's just, I got a message last week when I was at an event. And all I'm seeing is, "I got the job," and I'm like, was in the middle of work and I'm seeing this message and I was like, it made me so happy because I was like, I really helped this person. She was messaging me again. It was a constant contact that she had with me. She kept messaging me. She kept messaging me, asking loads and loads of questions about the assessment center, how it went for me, what I did to make sure I obviously got in. Obviously, it wasn't like a guarantee, but I provided as much as I could. And obviously, because I have connections as well and people inside the business, I'll be asking, oh, someone is talking to me about network engineering. I'm not in that role. However, I would ask,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bring back the advice and be like, oh, I found out from this person. Here's what I suggest, all that things. And that just, it really brought that sense of accomplishment to me. So with my like TikTok and my own personal branding, it's something I continue till now, because even when I'm outside, people will come up to me and be like, "You're such an inspiration." That's literally one of the words they use. I'm gonna continue using this word because it fully said to me, I was on the underground of the London. If you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
like London Underground, she comes next to me, sits next to me, she says to me, "Such an inspiration. I love your videos," and like it just makes me want to keep going and keep it up.
yeah. Yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't make these videos for myself. I make it for all you aspiring apprentices that want to get to like where I am, where Shaz is, where Umayr is. She has a full-time role now, by the way, like good lord. But we'll get there soon. But I'm making these videos for you. So like that's my personal brand. Like I'm trying to help all of you bring more awareness to apprenticeships. And again, Shaz, we speak about networking. I was for this podcast, I know someone within the marketing space of HR. We started this podcast. We showed it all over LinkedIn. We're posting it everywhere on every social media. And now she has come back to the three of us, I, Shaz, and Jill, messaged us and said, "Oh, we want to help you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
promote your podcast." I'm just like,
And then I
all these
networked her through that. Do you know
opportunities.
what I mean? I networked to her through that because I didn't even
Yeah.
know she existed. Do you know what I mean? That's how it kind of. That's how it happens. So it's mad. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you as well. Like it's
Honestly.
just so good to see how not even networking, but just like you like posting on social media and posting on LinkedIn, how it can
Yeah.
bring successes to people and how it can actually inspire people as well and uplift other people. That's very very important. And I think that's a very crucial part of networking as well, to be able to speak to someone and like encourage them and to motivate them and stuff like that. That's a very important skill to have, 100%.
I was very happy. That's happened to me a
Yeah.
couple times as well. I'm like, really me? And I don't have that many followers. You can help me bring up my followers, but guys, I'm only on like a couple 2,000. And I'm like,
Oh, so
you're really coming up to
I mean,
tell
I'm
me.
struggling with 50, man. You know what I mean? So
But no, Shaz, you'll get there.
I'll
And
Cheeky
Shaz has
plug.
only
definitely.
posted like 3 videos and he's got 50 already. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was no, Shaz, you should be proud of yourself because that's
Thank you,
to
thank you.
gain followers as well and gain that audience, very hard. So, no, yeah,
Appreciate it.
for all
Thank
of
you. I
us
need to I
because
need to I need to learn
amazing.
from
Well
you.
done.
Thank you. So, like the next one as well, because everyone wants to know this as well, like because for people who are introverted and for people who don't really like networking, what kind of tips would you give to them people? Because I know there's a lot of people who really, really hate networking. Like I have a friend of mine as well. Obviously, I won't get shout any names, but he hates networking. Like I remember I went to like a conference and he just didn't want to talk to anybody. And he was saying, Shaz, how do you do it? And like my
Mm.
personal advice was just talk to them like you're talking to your friend. Like talk to them like it's just like like I know this sounds weird, but I say to them, talk to this person like you've known them for 5 years, because like when you speak to them, then you'll come across more friendly, more conversational. Obviously, you don't want to be saying some random stuff that could get you like, I don't know, chucked off the premises. But you know what I mean? Like you want to say, you
The
want to
personality will shine
exactly
more.
show your
Yeah,
personality, be conversational, and be natural as well. Like don't force it. Like I've seen like people as well, like they're in networking events and they're proper forcing the conversation, and the conversation just dries out as well.
Yeah, I
But I'd
hate that.
say,
You can tell as well.
yeah, if like you gotta want to be there to network. Like if you don't want to be there, it's
Mm.
not gonna work. You gotta have it. Like you gotta want to have that desire to network with people. But what about you guys? Any
definitely.
tips?
I think on that point as well, right? There's different forms and formats of networking,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't necessarily have to only network through going to conferences and actually kind of approaching people off the
Yeah,
back of, nothing, right? There's various other forms of networking. I mean, LinkedIn is one online, right?
yeah,
If you feel like you're introverted, then that's a perfect safe space for you to be able to network with individuals over the web, right? Through LinkedIn and other means as well. And there's other networking capabilities as well that you can undertake. For example, if you are at an event, there is different activities and formats that they do networking through, like playing network bingo
yeah,
or kind of these small games and icebreakers that actually allow for it to be a more natural space in which you can network rather than it being kind of just randomly approaching someone and introducing yourself. That can be quite daunting sometimes. So find that kind of niche and find those formats that you're comfortable with and just chase those formats
yeah.
and just go with that. Because no one is going to be good at all formats and no one is going to be comfortable with all formats, right? So you got to
100%.
find what is right for you, what you're comfortable with, and what works for you, and stick with that, and that will hopefully allow for your network to thrive.
Definitely. And I think adding to that as well is it's like see if you can bring a friend with you to these networking events, not even a friend but just a colleague,
Mm,
because then you can build your network from like friends of friends and stuff like that. So let's say you go to an event, you bring your friend along and they know quite a few people at that event, then I'd say it's a bit easier to kind of bridge that gap a little bit, and you can kind of talk to people a bit and kind of ease in a little bit. Like your friend can introduce you, oh, this is Shaz. He's got he's got a TikTok with 50 followers. You know what I mean? Then I can get introduced like that. You know what I mean? So it's all about. There's loads of different strategies, like Umayr mentioned, but the key is just trying to get yourself involved. I'd say in whatever format it may
Yeah,
be.
and
definitely.
more times than less, even though I'm a very, very big extroverted person, more times it's them approaching you. Like I remember most of the time when I first started, because obviously everyone kind of knows each other in the building, like they know the faces. So when they see all these new apprentices, it was more they were the ones approaching us because we were just about 5 of us apprentices and we just stuck together on one table. And the amount of people that came up to us and then we just continued that conversation. And then I
Yeah,
remember
to be
the amount
honest,
of times it happened, I was like, this is too weird. Like, I
yeah,
don't want to do this. Like,
I remember what
I
you're
don't want to
talking
carry on
about.
conversation.
Cause like
Yeah.
we had like a we like in the office we had like a table, and it was just us apprentices in the team, and like we all had our laptops out and stuff. And then like other apprentices in the building on the floor, for example, they used to see us like talking and seeing us having a good time. And they just used to come over, and then like another apprentice would come over, and then another one, and we'd have like a massive like, I wouldn't say massive, but like the table was full at one point. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
everyone, like we had loads of apprentices, not even apprentices, like even some like other people in the
Yes.
team. You know what I mean? So it was. I think the key is just to have kind of be approachable as well. If you want to have like people networking to you, to have that approachable kind of character is very important.
We weren't even
Definitely.
approachable though. We were just on our table. That's the thing.
No, but
And
I
they
think
would
I
come
think
up to
people
us.
saw us being like happy and like every, like you know when you know when you come into this corporate environment, like I remember like I was, I don't know why I thought
Having
this
too
in my
much
head.
fun.
I don't know why I thought this in my head, but when I first got the job at BT, I was thinking I'm gonna go into the office and it's just gonna be loads of people sitting in a coffee, bored as hell, sitting with the, you know what I mean? Like I thought everyone would just be sad, like sitting at a computer desk, like you know how they show it in the movies and stuff. I thought it'd be like that. So, because I wasn't used to this, I wasn't used to this corporate environment. You know what I mean? So I walk in, and then I saw, you know what? This is kind of like the office is buzzing, like everyone's talking, everyone's meeting with each other, like loads of people having conversations while they get their coffee, stuff like that. And I
Mm.
thought, you know what? This isn't too bad. And that's how the networking started, because I realized, you know what? Not everyone is a villain. Not everyone is going to hate you if you go and talk to them. Just like talk to someone, see how they're doing, stuff like that.
Yeah. I think the office is a very nice and vibrant space
Yeah,
to actually meet new people and speak to them, and even over kind of coffee, even if you have like kitchens and refill points,
yeah,
fantastic opportunity to just introduce yourself to the director if the director is making themselves a tea or a coffee. And it makes it more natural because then you're not just randomly approaching them, right? There is actually a purpose that you're both there for, and you're just bonding over that purpose. And I think
exactly.
it's an amazing way of doing that as well.
Man,
100%.
how many times did that happen to you when you bumped into someone while you're making
Yeah.
tea and they'll just randomly start talking to you? I'm just like, I'm just trying to make tea, but
And
then you just start to get used to it, and
yeah, it's
Yeah,
mad
yeah, yeah, exactly.
because of my LinkedIn as well. For example, I went to go make some tea at the coffee area, wherever it may be, and then some random person, like I saw his face, but I didn't actually know him, and he came up to me, he goes, "Shaz, I've seen your LinkedIn." Like I really, and that's how it happens. Like it was so random as well, and I was thinking, like, because of my LinkedIn, again, we're going back to LinkedIn. We need to do a whole episode on LinkedIn at this point. But anyway, like this man came up to me saying, "Shaz, I've seen your LinkedIn. I've seen you do the apprenticeship stuff," and I was just like, "Yo, that's crazy! Like this person seen my LinkedIn, and I'm networking him just through that." So again, that's another way that you can kind of get inbound networking, if that's what you call it. But yeah, definitely. But I guess like another question then is like the importance of apprentice networks. So like I know Fide is part of the BAN, and we've got Umayr here, the CEO of Ace Insights. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, so ACE Insights was an initiative, a social mobility organization co-founded by myself and a couple of other like-minded apprentices at the time who are my co-founders. And essentially, the aim was to make apprentices or ex-apprentices at the heart of supporting aspiring apprentices through their application process, and also current apprentices supporting them and allowing for them to take full advantage of their apprenticeships. Um, Oftentimes, you see that there are decisions within the apprenticeship space. There are decisions being made for apprentices or aspiring apprentices by people that have no clue about apprenticeships from an experience standpoint. They've never done an apprenticeship. They don't know anyone that's done
Yeah,
an apprenticeship, and they are the ones that are the core decision makers. And I think that has to change. And that was what me and my co-founders thought, that we got to make this apprentice centric. And that's what it's all about. It's about the apprentice. We as apprentices or ex-apprentices know exactly what it is like to apply for an apprenticeship, go through the process, and actually be an apprentice.
yeah,
And so we are best fit to now understand the needs of all of those stakeholders that are now trying to get into an apprenticeship or that are doing an apprenticeship. And that's what creates a better product and a better service. And
yeah,
so the support that we're offering is better. It's more bespoke. It's more relevant to the needs and wants of the aspiring apprentice.
Yeah.
And the events that we put on are more tailored towards what current apprentices want to see in events. And that's why it's so important that these organizations are apprentice led. And that's what I'm proud of as CEO of Ace Insights, that we are being led and driven by fantastic apprentices. The team that we have are all, either award winners, multi-award winners, or they're shortlisted for awards. And that's something that I'm so proud of. These are the best of the best in the apprenticeship space, and they are involved in Ace Insights, and I'm so proud of that. And that's the important thing, that we are making a difference, and that
Yeah.
we are actually improving the experience, and that we're actually serving those that are disadvantaged. And that's another core
Yeah.
element of Ace Insights, which is to serve those that are disadvantaged. We want to equal the level, we want to kind of level the playing field rather. And we do that through offering support to those that are from these disadvantaged backgrounds. We did an insight day with a wealth management firm last year, and over 60% of the students that attended that insight day in Mayfair, in the city of London, in a wealth firm that has probably never seen students from such backgrounds, over 60% of them actually attended and benefited and learned about wealth management,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
went on to apply for apprenticeships. And that's what it's about. And that's why it's so important that we carry on these amazing initiatives, and kind of see past all of the sometimes you can get bogged down by the drama, and you can get bogged down by all sorts of kind of negativity and people doing things for the wrong reasons. But here at Ace Insights, everybody is here for one mission and one mission only, and that's to help make a difference in society through apprenticeships. And I think that's something that we will always be very proud of.
100% amazing, and I think it's a very good initiative. I'm part of the team at Ace Insights as well, the technology
You
team.
are, and you do fantastic work, Shaz.
Amazing,
So if
thank you,
anyone goes on to aceinsights.co.uk, that website is all designed by Shaz. It's
thank
all
you. Yeah,
Shaz's work, and I think Shaz, you've been a fantastic member of the team,
amazing,
and I'm
thank you.
really proud of your development over the last few years, and looking forward to many more in the future as well.
Appreciate it. And I just wanted to mention as well, like with Ace Insights, just even something like that, that came from networking. You know what I mean? Like we're
Mm,
going back full circle because I remember me and Umayr were just talking like after the awards. I think it was after the awards, and you were just asking me like, have I got any experience in like website design, website stuff? Because I think I showed you one of the websites I've worked on in the past, and it came across your attention. You were thinking, oh, this looks good. We actually need one for Ace, and it just that's how it works. That's the beauty of networking. So yeah, thanks for coming on today as well, Umayr. It's been amazing having you on the podcast today. And unfortunately, we didn't have Joe today. Obviously, Joe's on holiday enjoying himself, so we couldn't get Joe. But we got the next best thing. We got Umayr on the podcast. So uh, thank you, Umayr, for joining as well. And have you guys got any closing thoughts before we wrap up for today?
Yeah, just honestly, my pleasure for kind of being here today. Thank you so much once again for having me. It's my pleasure. I think the work that you guys are doing in the apprenticeship space and for your respective companies and your kind of areas in the business is fantastic. Please do keep up the amazing work.
Thank you.
I'm really proud to see the stuff that you're doing. And once again, thank you for having me. And hopefully, the viewers have gained some insight and some
Yeah.
benefit from this pertaining to networking and the other topics that were covered today. And yeah, I'm an avid fan of the podcast, and I will be tuning in for the future episodes as well. So yeah, keep it up, guys. Keep it up, and
Oh,
looking
thank
forward to
you.
many more episodes.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Roman. And even I've learned quite a few things from the stuff you've mentioned today, so I'm sure some of the viewers will benefit from that as well. So, Fida, any closing thoughts from you?
No, just lovely to have him on. And our first guest, you can always say you're the first guest on Pathway to Profession. So,
Yeah,
yay.
Yeah, I'll have to get that inscripted into like stone and then hang it on my wall.
yeah. Yeah. But just last things from me, guys. Smash the likes, drop a comment, show some support. Let's get a W or more in the comments, and I hope you guys all have a brilliant weekend, which is the time you're watching this. So yeah, thank you very much, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.